As you know, this is a tribute to our Ed. We love Ed. Ed has been part of Sun City Television for many, many years, since its very beginning, an integral part of Sun City Television. But you have been a part of quite a few organizations, Ed, and we've invited some representatives of these organizations to come up and say a few words for you. Okay, and we hope you don't mind. But you know what? Ed? I was going to do it no matter what. I don't have to listen to you anymore. Like stay still or move over there or anything like that. So we're going to ask Ed Lenta from Bocce, if he could come up first. And Ed is representing Roy Powers, who's in Rhode Island. But he's going to talk a little bit about the Bocce Club and about you, Ed.
Good morning. Ed, I was really surprised when I saw that you were leaving. I wanted to come and speak. The Bocce Club, as I remember, I came here in 2003. You were already here. And the first Bocce meeting I went to was in the room down here. There was probably 20 of us in the room. And Ben Stieff was the chair, president of the club. And you wanted the bylaws redone or something, so he put you in charge of that. I don't know if you remember that. That's when I first met you. Fast forward, the club grew, and then in 2008 or 9, I became president of the club, and Ed was my vice president for several years after that. And he did a lot for the club. He just, anything he needed done, ask Ed. One of the things, I'll tell a couple of stories. At the our club meetings, we have a sign up for the open leagues where people could come, and Ed always took care of that, signing the people up. It was like herding cats, sort of. The people didn't know where to go, and Ed would take care of them.
When we first started, all we had was open leagues.
That's right. And there were only 4 courts, and now we have 8. And the other thing Ed did, he was always the captain of the Tuesday Open League. I say always. I don't know anybody else that did it. We could never get anybody to do the other leagues, but Ed was always there. And if you asked anybody what league they played, and they didn't tell you they played in the Tuesday Open League, they played in Ed Harper's league. The other thing I gotta tell you, at some point, as it grew, the other thing with that Tuesday league, as the courts grew, that league grew. It was always filled up all the courts. When we had 4 courts, it was full. We had 6, we had 8. It was always, thanks to Ed. Another story, as time went on, I don't know if you know, but normally the bocce balls are usually green and red. Well, we had a problem that the balls for the club would get mixed up with the other balls, and we couldn't tell whose were whose or whatever. So we decided we're going to get different balls. So we bought blue and white balls for the club. Fine. We had score things on the side of the courts, and there were little round things on there that you used to keep score for each team. Well, we had bought those. They were green and red. And we had blue and white balls now. Ed took care of it. He went out, got the paint, painted all of those little, so they were all blue and white. I don't know what color they are now because they bought new balls. I don't know what.
Red and yellow.
Red, did you paint them or yeah, see, there you go. So anyway, I'm glad I was able to come to this and recognize what you've done. Personally, I want to thank you. I'm sure the Bocce Club thanks you, and we wish you all of the best, Gene and yourself and your family. Thanks, Ed. We really appreciate what you've done.
Well, thank you, Ed. Well, now we have the Buckeye Club. You were so important there, too, and we have Dave Lash, who's the president of the Buckeye Club, to talk about you. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ed has been a member of the Buckeye Group since its inception. He's been on the board since its inception, And while I won't say he's our oldest member, I will say he's our longest member. And has been very responsible for many of the things that we've done at the Buckeye Group. He, current job or responsibility is reserving our rooms. And if you know anything about the Buckeye Group, we reserve a lot of rooms. And Ed has done that for us and never missed a beat. Everything is always exactly there, exactly the way it should be, and just perfect, which is what you would expect from Ed Harper. So on behalf of the Buckeye Group, I'm not going to list all the things you did, Ed, because we'll be here all day, really, seriously. This guy has just been on so many groups and has helped so many people. It's just unbelievable. But as a very small token, the Buckeye Group has asked for me to hand this to you and Jean, and it will hopefully help on your trip back to the homeland. Even though you weren't born in Ohio, I knew you but lived very close to me, which I didn't know until much later in our meeting of each other. I was from Canton, he's from Massillon, so thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. And now let's go to Euchre. And we have the president, Bob Woods, of Euchre.
Good morning. My name is Bob Woods. I have the honor and privilege of being the Euchre Club president. For those of you who don't know, Euchre is a card game, and it's popular in the Pennsylvania, Western PA, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois area. So 20 years ago, Ed and Jean had moved here to Sun City. And shortly after settling, they were excited about getting a chance to play cards in the Euchre Club. But there was just one problem. There was no Euchre Club. So what do? Undaunted, we're going to start one. So they started taking ads out in the Sun stations, and they did that until they got enough members. After a few months, they had 20 members, and they thought that was enough to start a club. Ed was the first president of the club, and as a matter of fact, I believe he had more terms of the Euchre Club president than FDR did. Okay. After getting their board together, they had to put all the bylaws and rules together. Most of those are still in place today. And in the beginning, they played in people's houses. They took turns rotating in members' houses. After a few months, Ed found out that the chess club had a room here in Pinckney Hall.
This room and the room next door.
Okay. I didn't ask you to speak. Thank you, though. Yeah, that's in the bylaws, exactly. I'm the president now. So what happened was, after a while, they started playing in the same room with the chess club, and then Ed said that before you know it, the Euchre Club had more members than the chess club. Ironically, we share a room with them on Wednesdays, the chess club, and we still have more members than the chess club. Ed and Jean were very important in getting the club started. And I moved here about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. And this is my 4th year as club president. I was new to both the Euchre Club and Sun City shortly after I moved here. So, Ed, you've been my mentor for these last 4 years. Anytime I had questions about the rules and bylaws, I would go to Ed. If we wanted to make a club change, I often would seek his advice before putting it before the membership. So Ed and Jean, safe travels back to Ohio. I know the club is going to miss you, and I know that this player is certainly going to miss you. Good luck.
Thank you, Bob. And last but not least, we have the Veterans Association, and speaking on their behalf is Jim Quirk.
Ed, it's an honor to be here with you today and your family. You're a linchpin in a lot of what goes on in Sun City. I remember when we first kind of started working together with Sun City TV, and we had a little cubbyhole upstairs. Hank Druckerman was there, Gene Bigelow, Bruce Barton, he's gone now, and a group of, and a distinguished anchor here, Norma Taylor. We did a lot of good things together, but Sun City didn't like us to report hard news. So that's when I parted ways, but you hung in there and you kept things going, and I put you in for a nomination for Veterans Member of the Year. And what I learned in talking to you about your volunteering has been your whole life. You were involved in all kinds of things back home in addition to your regular job. Then you came here to Sun City, and you were one of the original managers of the Sun City Safety and Service Team. You served as its training instructor, assistant manager for bar code decal special projects. They still haven't got that right. Chairing the election committee, serving as neighborhood representative, as well as all the clubs that you've served on. Ed received the Sun City Veterans Member of the Year Award in 2014. He served for 4 years in the Army at Fort Belvoir. But what struck me most about Ed is he was at every one of our meetings and every event, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. Him and Bruce would be setting up the equipment on that shaky stage they had. Took their life. I know, took their life in their hands. He traveled to Beaufort and Jasper counties getting veteran stories. And he worked with Larry Della Vecchia for years on Meet the Sun City Veterans, and that was quite a challenge with Larry. But thank you, Ed, for everything. Thank you, Gene, for allowing him the time, although my wife loves it when I'm not in the house. But best of luck to you, and we're going to miss you.
Thank you, Jim. Would anyone, before I have some last words, would anyone like to come up and say something? Doesn't have to be much. Hank?
Hi, I'm Hank Druckerman. Looking around this room, I anointed myself now the president of the Sun City Television Alumni Association. Looking around this room, except for Ed, there's no one, I believe, who's been associated with Sun City Television longer than Ed. My first experience with Sun City Television included Ed. I went to a board of directors meeting, and I saw a man on the stage with a Sun City TV jacket and a black cap, pointing his camera at the board of directors, and that was Ed Harper. And I said, I want to be part of that organization. And it's actually seeing Ed on stage with a video camera inspired me to get involved in Sun City Television. Ed goes back longer than I at Sun City Television. He goes back to the days of Bruce Barton and Charlie Mitchell, members who are beyond us now. And all I can recall is every time that Ed was called upon, he volunteered. He didn't know which end of the camera the picture came out of, but he quickly learned. I can say that truthfully. When you first started, you didn't know which end of the camera was up.
Never saw one before.
Yeah. But he learned quickly, and we went through a lot of mistakes and a lot of errors and oversights, yes. Yeah. You know, remembering to push the record button at the right moment was critical. Anyway, Ted has probably been a member of Sun City Television actually longer, Ed, did I say that? Ed has been a member longer than anyone else. And he was like not a father figure, but someone who I could aspire to keep up with. And through the years, Ed has been the mainstay of Sun City Television, the camera department without equal. If you could count the hours of video footage that are in the library that are attributable, it would have to go to him. And I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to his participation, his cooperation, his longevity, and wishing you both bon voyage and joy ahead.
Thank you, Hank. Would you like, sure?
I just want to add one word.
Okay.
That during our early years with the veterans, Ed's participation in filming our different events had a very positive increase in our membership. People would call and say, I saw you guys on TV, I saw you here. All was always based on Ed's participation. I think you're right. In fact, at times at home, I turn around to see if you were there with me. This is when my wife would ask me a question. But we appreciate what you've done for us. Thank
Glad
you.
you've done it.
Anyone else would like to say a few words? Okay. You have to get up, though.
Ed, this is my notes. This is about the size of Ed's notepad where he kept all his cameras. And he'd sit up in that captain's chair and he'd have 5 assignments by the end of the day. Many of you don't know this, but I'm actually ordained, and I'm here to consider sainthood for Ed. But I got to tell you a few things first. Just a couple things. First people I met were Hank, Ray Tapio, Ed, JJ, when I came to the TV station 4 years ago. And they were all friendly and said, what the hell are you doing here? And what do you want to do? But Ed and I worked together a lot in those initial episodes. And he taught me everything that well, not everything, but he taught me a lot about how to do an interview, like hold the microphone to my lips when I'm asking the question and their lips when they're answering. We had a great interview one time, and I was really feeling cocky, and it was great. And I said, Ed, that was a really good interview. He said, yeah, but I didn't put a battery in the... And I said, oh, okay, that's good. But anyway, Ed, I just wanted to bring up that, like so many others, you've been a mentor and a trainer, and a good guy besides. I'll never forget going to the Heritage on about 1,000-degree day, and you carting that camera around all over the golf course, and I'm straggling behind, just trying to keep up. So keep doing it. That's what I say back in Ohio, and I wish I could say go Buckeyes, but I never will, being from Michigan. So, but it's been a friendly rivalry, and we'll miss you. God bless you, and have a great remainder of your time.
Anyone else?
I'd like to say that.
I just
Say who you are. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Present to my buddy Ed.
oh.
No, you're fine.
For all the years we worked together, and you deserve it. Thank you. Let me see this. Oh, wrong side. Sorry.
Hey,
Ed's son
hey everybody. I'm Bruce. Ed is my dad, and hopefully I won't cry too much. But this is my sister, and we just want to thank y'all. When my parents moved to Sun City, it was really the best thing that ever happened to them. Not to give their secrets away, but, you know, in Ohio, it was like they would fuss at each other and just didn't, you know, and they came to Sun City and met y'all, and their life changed as far as, like, you know, just got very active, and you know, because my dad's always been, you know, he was a volunteer fireman. You name it, my dad's done it. A referee, an umpire, you know, when we were kids, and y'all just have meant a lot to my parents. And this place, just really, I mean, of course, this place is y'all. And we were at a tennis tournament in Ohio, and we're talking, somehow somebody said something about Sun City, and I said, "Oh, my dad's Ed." They said, "Ed." Everybody knows Ed. And so anyway, I just, like, for me and my sister, just want to thank y'all. Really, this is a great place. You know, we're kind of getting at the age where we're probably going to be here next, kind of thing. You know, and but I don't know about Sun City. Nothing but against Sun City. I live in Atlanta. We just love Atlanta. But I just want to thank y'all. You know, just thank you for loving my parents. And so, thank you.
Does anyone else want to say something?
Okay, yeah, Bob Grando, cameraman also, and I just want to say what a good teacher Ed was. I'm surprised he didn't know anything about the camera. Because it, you know, it has about 100 buttons on and switches, and he taught me how to use it. And he never got angry. He was a good teacher, calm under pressure, and great sense of humor. Great to work with. And I sure hope you're going to leave your phone number. God bless you.
Well, I wrote a few words down this morning at 6 o'clock, so hopefully I can get through them. It's been over 10 years since I first met Ed. I started out at Sun City Television doing a profiles report, and Ed was always my cameraman when we went out on a shoot. In fact, wherever I went, if people would say to me, "Where's Ed?" even if I wasn't interviewing anyone, "You always made me look good in front of the camera, Ed, even when I messed up." You have been an inspiration to all of us here, and we have enjoyed working with you tremendously. But every beginning has an ending. So the day has come when we have to say goodbye. Goodbye is the toughest word, especially if it has to be said to such a wonderful guy like you. You've been great to work with, and you left your mark on us. Your loss will be greatly felt. Thank you for your time and your dedication while you worked for Sun City Television. We will surely miss your bright and charming smile in this place. I want to thank you personally for all the milestones that you helped Sun City TV achieve. You are the best there was, and there will be, Ed. It's going to be really hard for all of us here to not see you around every week when we film after all these years. We love you, Ed. We wish you and Jean the best of everything to come. Thank you.